Hello, everybody, and welcome back to 50 Shades of Tay. I'm your host, Taylor Gonzalez, and today I am joined by a screenwriter and star from the new horror thriller Bloodline Killer. I have James Gaudioso. How are you doing today, James?
Good, good, good. Nice to meet you and speak with you about the film.
Oh, it's very nice to meet you. I watched the film last night and I had a blast with it. Congratulations on the release of the film.
Thank you. Thank you very much for saying that. I really appreciate it.
The title alone of Bloodline Killer is so fun. How did you guys come up with the title of the film?
Yes. Well, it was initially called The Skeleton. And basically, the initial title was basically just to be I had sort of looked at all of these wonderful horror movies growing up and, witches and Draculas and vampires and zombies and mummies. And I thought, well, what is something, what is some sort of like early monster iconography that I hadn't seen sort of overused or really sort of underused? And I thought, oh, I want to do something with a skeleton. And I wanted to be a stripped down version of a person, someone that lacked sort of the sympathetic nature and sort of the refining elements that make us who we are and, know the difference between right and wrong. And so I decided to go with the skeleton. And it was that title for a very long time, the skeleton. And then it was changed sort of a last minute. But I think it's interesting, the Bloodline Killer. It took a while to sort of get that sort of in my brain. But I think it's interesting because it is sort of like a lineage thing, and it was the distributor that came up with that, and it's very interesting, because he's coming after a family, and so it's sort of his family line.
Hmm.
So.
I love the title of the film, and I also loved the mask. Do you know how that mask came about, like where it came from or who created it?
Of course I do. Yes. So Howard Berger, who won an Oscar for, I believe it was The Chronicles of Narnia, and then he won an Emmy for The Walking Dead. So wonderful, wonderfully talented artisan, and he worked with the script and he worked with the director and came up with that iconic look, which is really sort of a derivative or a variation of a skeleton, and sort of really wild and sort of scary looking and very interesting the way that it looks on camera.
Yeah, I love that mask. I think it's already going to be an iconic look. I would love to get that mask for Halloween, honestly. It's just when I saw it on the poster, I was like, "Oh, this is a great mask."
It is. It's wonderful, and I think that we're hoping to we would love to sort of one day have that in Spirit Halloween stores and have uh that mask sort of out there for everyone. And then we had another wonderful mask maker came in and did sort of the mask, the movie within a movie. So you can see these sort of day glow versions in the film, which are sort of reminiscent of the old style Ben Cooper masks, which were sort of a staple, a stalwart of the past, sort of old Halloween. And I wanted that. I wanted that the lore of this character had become so famous in this sort of imaginary landscape that they created these knockoff masks that people would run around with during the season.
Oh, so fun.
Yeah.
So when you and your twin brother Alex were writing this film, did you guys already have it in mind which roles you would be playing, or how did it come about that you guys also ended up starring in this film?
Oh, sure, sure, sure. Yes, I think I had always wanted to play the character of Connor. The role of Michael was initially written for my brother to play, so we would have been playing opposite each other in the movie. And I think that he considered that early on, but then opted to uh, go for this sort of rogue off the beaten path detective, and he thought that that would be a little bit more interesting for him. So we had always intended to be in the film. It just was sort of like, well, where, you know, where do we want to be in the film? And it takes a long time. I've said this before many times. It took 6 years. I've been working on the film so I'm so excited that it's out now. But this one was a 6 year endeavor from the first time I sat down and started penning it.
Mhm. Wow. Yeah, I am very excited that it is out right now and it's very fun. I would highly recommend it to people. It has a very fun, stacked cast. You have Tyrese Gibson in there, Taryn Manning, Shawnee Smith from the Saw franchise. What was it like getting to work with all these iconic actors?
Amazing, amazing, and feel very grateful. Of course, Tyrese Gibson and Shawnee, whose films I had grown up with, and you know, um, the films from her past, like Summer School, and even when she did The Stand, Stephen King's The Stand, and The Blob, the remake of that with Kevin Dillon, and then Taryn, of course, is a dear friend, and I had loved so many of her movies, and Bruce Dern, of course. It was exciting, it was fun, and I wanted to give them. I wanted to, the director as well as myself, as well as the whole team, we wanted to give them a lot to sort of chew on and play with, and I think we did that. I think it's a cool film. It's fun.
Yeah. Oh, such a fun film. So
Yeah.
since this film takes place at Halloween time, I was wondering if you have a favorite Halloween costume that you've ever dressed up as.
Oh, that's great. It's so funny. I think I was always as a kid, I was always a vampire. I felt like that was always something that like my go-to, but I always wanted a really cool mummy costume. I always thought like, but then, I would wait too long. So we'd get up to Halloween and I'd be like, oh my God, I need ace bandages and I need, I'm trying to do this, in my room, pull this together last minute. So I think my go-tos for Halloween and also too, so it would be mummy and vampire, but I like outlandish costumes too. So, the more wild, the better. I grew up on the East Coast, and we would you'd really have so much fun with it. Really, really wild, elaborate costumes. And my family grew up going to Salem, Massachusetts, almost every Halloween when I was a kid. And so the whole town transforms for the entire month of October. And it's really wild to see people, spending so much time. So I think that sort of built a love for sort of that time of year.
Oh, that is awesome. I would love to go to Salem during Halloween
So
time.
much fun, so much fun, such a trip,
Mhm.
and yeah, and you can, really do anything. There's, mediums and psychics and clairvoyants and history tours and, anything you want to do.
Ah, so cool. So I was wondering, what is the writing process like between you and your brother? Do you guys sit down and write each scene together, or do you guys kind of split up scenes like you write this scene, I write this scene, or how do you guys handle that?
That's a wonderful question. People I don't think always realize how long it takes, and they're seeing the product at the end, which is so wonderful and so rewarding. But really, like a 6 year process of in the beginning, I wrote the first 4 to 6 iterations of the script, and then he came in, and he's a wonderful, wonderful writer. He teaches structure and really taught me sort of 3 act structure and how to do that, and so. This one was sort of my, sort of like like my, sort of incarnation initially. And so he came in around the sixth draft, and then he sort of really helped to sort of buttress certain themes and strengthen certain characters. And he's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful writer. But we do it separate, so we don't step on toes. Some people can sit in a writer's room and they can, really just sort of. And our process is a little bit different. It's sort of I take a stab, no pun intended, and then he takes a stab, and so that way I can sort of hear his voice sort of, and he can get to hear mine, and it's not controlling I think that's the best way to do it. And then listen, then you bring it to, then you go to make the movie, and everyone has their sort of notes and how they want to play their character and what they want to bring to it. And that's sort of an interesting sort of process too.
Yeah, no, I think if I were to have a screenwriting partner, I think the way that you guys do it is the way I would like to do it. You have your own space, and then
Yes.
taking stabs at it, like you said, I think is great. Taking turns and not stepping on each other's toes. I think that's a great way to handle it.
Yeah, me too. Me
Yeah.
too. It's
Um,
worked for us.
so in this film, not only are you a screenwriter, you're also starring in the film. Do you have a preference when it comes to which role you play in a film? Do you prefer writing or acting, or does it really just depend on what the project is?
I think it depends on what the project is. This one, I would say, I really loved I really loved the acting of it, and I really loved the writing of it because I felt like this one I really wanted to have a lot of sort of fun with and really sort of lean into uh what is the slasher genre and how do we sort of tell this story of this really broken family and make a drama but then also add a slasher element to it, and can I look at elements of movies that inspired me like Misery or Silence of the Lambs or the original Black Christmas, and I really wanted to find a marriage of a drama and a slasher. And I thought, wouldn't that be so cool? So I had so much fun writing it. I really did. I had so much fun with the characters, and they all have crutches in the
Mm.
movie. They all have sort of this, these crutches that they lean on. And, you know, is you know is Fink's that character is his crutch, his inhaler, and his this intense curiosity that he has, and is you know uh is Michael's crutch his anxiety, and is Connor's crutch his the smoking and his depression, and what are their different and is Sam Marin's crutch her brother, and is Moira's her past. Like I really wanted them all to have that. And it was a lot of fun to play with. But I enjoyed very much the writing of it, and very much getting to play that character. I felt like that character was a was I lost 26 pounds to play that character, and I really wanted to step through what the depression of that character, and that was a lot. I really gave a lot to that character, and to be maimed, and thought it was a really great experience, and took a lot, but it was it was great. Yeah.
And then I was just wondering, did you have a favorite scene to act in?
Yes, I would say I very much enjoyed doing there was a kitchen scene with Shawnee Smith, and I thought that I really enjoyed that dance,
Mm.
and I thought that there was sort of a bittersweet moment there, and uh, that scene wasn't initially in the script. I wrote that scene later on, and then much later on, and initially I had it that they were both standing and looking out a window. Together, and they couldn't really face each other. They just sort of, and so I won't give away too much, but the way it was staged from the director, you sort of the director comes in and they see it a different way. So it was interesting the way that he had it, that they were sort of across an island with each other. And I thought that that did the same thing as sort of standing, sort of being separate, looking out on the world, but not facing each other. And that was one of my favorite scenes to act. I thought that that was, I really enjoyed working with Shawnee on that. And, she's such a wonderful, terrifically talented, actress. And so it
Mm.
was, it was a pleasure.
Yeah, that scene was definitely a standout scene in the film, and I really enjoyed that scene. When I was taking notes during the film too, I was like, I love that scene, and it's
Thank you.
just
Thank you
very
so
emotional.
much.
Mm.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so that was a lot of fun, and you know, um yeah, it was wild. We shot the film and to see it all come together, and and to hear people's feedback has been really interesting, and cool.
And then I just have one more question that I
Sure.
didn't have written down, but it's in the back of my mind. Where was this filmed?
Oh, sure. So the film was shot in Connecticut, and so we worked with them, and wonderful, wonderful crew, and you know, um, wonderful cast, wonderful crew. We shot there, and we also shot the opening credit sequence stuff that was shot in Sleepy Hollow. So that was shot in New York, actually, which is really interesting and gave the film this really cool, really cool feel to it, sort of like anywhere USA type of feel, you
Oh,
know.
cool. Yeah, I'm really glad I asked because when I was watching it, I like to try and figure out where places are when I watch movies, like where they were filmed. And parts of it look like Pasadena because I live in Pasadena, California.
Oh,
And I was like,
okay.
that,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
but the every time, like you're saying, it looks like it could be anywhere. So that's what makes it really
Yeah.
terrifying.
Yeah, really, really wild that it really could be in any state. And it was wild. Initially, when I had written it, it was supposed to take place on Long Island or upstate New York. And we took it to one of our producers, Rob Simmons, who's a wonderful producer. We took it to he had suggested, why don't we, go to Connecticut and, take a look there. And I think it might give you what you're looking for. And so I remember we took a trip up there and we drove through the suburbs, and it just wound up working really well. So that that house where the family lives, that's there. Yeah.
Oh, very cool. Well, James, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. Congratulations on the release of Bloodline Killer, which is in select theaters and available on demand now. James, where would be a good place for people to come and follow you if they want to keep up with upcoming projects and upcoming films you're working on?
Of course, of course. I think that they can absolutely stay in touch with us via Bloodline Killer Film, and all of the handles on Instagram, and I believe it's uh, X, and and all these things. And then we post quite a few updates there. Um, and we're the Gaudioso twins. That's the sort of our moniker that we write and direct under. And I just want to say thank you very much. And I also want to say thank you so much to the incredible cast and crew, wonderful, 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 technicians that made the film happen, and all of the different departments. We were incredibly fortunate, wonderful DP, and, wonderful costumers and set dressers and production design. And, and so I just wanted to thank them as well.
Well, thank you very much, James. It was very nice to meet you, and congratulations again on the film.
Thank you so much. You have a
Thank
lovely
you.
day.
Thanks,
Okay.
you too. Bye.
Bye-bye.